Alright, hey everyone, so today we're going to be doing an assembly video of the Squidtrainer. This is mainly targeted towards people who purchase the Squidtrainer in two separate shipments, but this is for anyone who actually just doesn't know how and if you'd like to take it apart and put it back together. So, for those of you who bought it in separate shipments, you're going to receive two packages. One is the handles, one is the trainer blade. Okay, now what you're going to need for the assembly is you're going to need some Loctite 243. This is in bulk, this is not the official labeling, but you need Loctite 243. 242 works as well, but 243 is stronger, so I recommend this. And you need some kind of lubricant. This helps it put together. I use Hops 9 lubricating oil. This is my favorite one, so if you guys are interested in getting a lubricating oil, this is what I recommend, especially because there's a really nice applicator tip there. It's very, very precise for when you're putting in the oil. So we'll use those in a bit. So when I send out the handles, you notice that the hardware is already inside it. You can take a look. Alright, I'll focus that. So what you're going to do first is that you're going to take your T10 screwdriver. I'm using Weehaw. There it is right there. T10. You need T10. Okay. Now you're going to unscrew these out here really quickly. And then you're going to push your driver in, you're going to push out the pivot, okay, with the washers there. You're going to let the washers fall on the table there. Okay, do the same thing for the other one. Take the screw out, and gently push out the bolt, let the washers fall. There should be a total of 4 washers. There's one stuck inside the handle here. And gently push this out. So 4 washers. 2 screws and 2 bolts. There's the bolts here, screws here, 4 washers here. So this is how I do the assembly. Now it's not, it doesn't have to be exactly the way I do it, but this is what I assemble all the Squidtrainers like. So what I do is I take both the handles, and I take these sides. They're a little bit different. I don't know if you can tell. So this side, more of like a dome shape, and this side's more of like a flat shape. But it doesn't really matter which side you do as well. And then I take the blade. And I put it inside, just like that. And with the safe handle on the right side, blind handle on the left side. It actually just doesn't matter at all. You take one washer on the right side, put it on top. And then the other washer, put it on the bottom, the same pivot hole. And then you're going to take your driver and push it through the top, just like this. Just going to let it fall down. You're going to take your pivot and put it on the end of the driver. And then you're going to push it through. I usually hold this against my chest because this is easiest, but I'm kind of in front of the camera, so I'm going to try to do it without that. I would usually hold that driver against my chest like that, and then I kind of push around and I guide that kind of twist this around until that pivot goes in. Okay? Just kind of wiggle this around until this sits inside. Just like that. Should be flush. Okay? Now you do the same for the other side. One washer on top, just like that. Then take the other washer, put it on the bottom side. Okay. Drop in towards. Whoops. Drop that real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm gonna take the pivot, push it in through there, wiggle around. Okay. See, it should be flush. Should not stick out the ends. Now if it does stick out the ends and it's kind of hard to push in, don't worry, because you're going to screw in these screws anyways, and that screw will pull the pivot all the way in. Okay, so what I usually do is I take the oil, whatever oil you got, and I apply it right over this section right here, right where the washer is. And you see here, I'm only going to apply a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit on this side, and a little bit on top here, just like that, not too much. Okay, then what I usually do is I blow on the top of it. Okay, and that just kind of helps spread the oil down. You can wipe off the excess. And I kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit so that the oil gets nice and spread out through the washer. Okay, both sides, just like that. Okay, so now we got that in. Now we're going to take the Loctite. Okay. What I usually do is I apply a pretty generous amount, just because it's always safer to not lose your screws than to actually, lose your screws. So a little bit more than that. Okay. That looks about right. Usually it's best to kind of blow on it so it spreads around, but if you want to just put it into the pivot hole, that's fine. That's just what I'm doing here. Alright, oops. Okay, just like that. Alright. I'm going to screw this all the way in here. But I'm not going to tighten it just yet. I'm going to put in both screws first before they do the tightening. Okay. You're going to take your Loctite. Same thing, I put it just like this. You can put it on the side too, but it really doesn't matter. If you mess up the Loctite, it's not a big deal. Just have to do it again. It's kind of hard to apply the Loctite looking through the camera. Okay, you can put it right on top there. I know some people like to hold the screws with a tweezer so that the screw goes directly into the screw hole, but I don't really care too much. Now, if you're screwing this or unscrewing this, and you see these binding posts, these pivots spinning while you're screwing this, and this basically goes nowhere, or you're trying to unscrew and it goes nowhere, just squeeze the handles tightly together, and that friction should prevent the binding posts from moving. Okay. So, just like that. Okay. Now we're going to do the tightening. Okay. So now you're going to tighten it a little bit. See how this doesn't flow freely? Well, tighten it until it doesn't flow freely, but not too tight. Okay. Just a little bit. Okay, just like this. It's a little bit. So what I recommend is you hold this handle here, and then you push, and you kind of move it back and forth. This kind of wears the washer in a little bit so that it finds its right place. Do it on the other side. Kind of push down, or if you just on the other side, you push down and you pull. You just go back and forth until you get a nice, smooth motion. Okay, just a little bit more. So I'll work in that washer a little bit. This should be good. The handle play is really small. If you want to keep going, you can tighten it and kind of move it a little bit more. But this is pretty good already. Okay. Let's do the same thing quickly for the other side. Okay. This side's you want it to be as tight as it can be while still being smooth. So I'm gonna keep tightening it. Okay. It still froze, so I'm gonna tighten it a little more. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna grind it a little bit here. See how it is. I can tell by wiggling it that the handle play is a little bit more than what I'd like. So I'm gonna keep tightening it until the handle play is what I want. See how it's kind of stuck there? Now it's completely stuck. So I'm just gonna grind it a little bit back and forth, pushing and then pulling, and then I'm gonna loosen it now, just a little bit. Try to find that sweet spot. All right, that seems about good. Now I'm going to tighten it back a little bit more. You really want to spend some time in finding where the best spot is for the least amount of handle play, but still a nice fluidity so that you can still flip it. Okay, looks like I'm a little bit off. Okay, looks like this is just about right. All right, looks like we're done here. Okay, so for the final test, just go ahead and flip it around, see how it feels. If it doesn't feel good to you, then well, maybe tighten or loosen more. And that's really it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helped.